Okay, I am recording. Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay, Beth. Thank you for contacting me and asking me about the reading marathon and the House of Reading. I wanted to make a tutorial about this, and this is the best idea possible to answer to a teacher life. Um, so first of all, I wanted to tell you a couple of things about the reading marathon in itself. This is not something I have invented, not at all. This comes from a great book that if you love developing reading with your students, I will advise you to get extensive reading activities for teaching languages. My librarian got it for me in school. But it's great because other teachers from other languages and even English teachers can use them. So it's a book that sits in the library. And one of the activities to celebrate reading and encourage reading and reading lots is the reading marathon, which is a competition. And so it's a reading competition where students aim to read a given number of books within a designated period of time. So in some schools, they do it as an event, as a sit down and read for a week, for 2 weeks. But I like, especially with the middle school, well, with all my levels, I like to do the reading marathon from the beginning of the year till the end of the year, or from the time I open the extensive reading program. For example, when I teach my year 7 and 8, I only open the extensive reading in term 2, or perhaps at the end of the second trimester, when they know how to read aloud, when they have a stronger sense of the symbol sound relationship. Because if they don't know how to read, it's very difficult to launch a reading marathon, right?
Mhm.
And so I do them, I do the marathon. I open the marathon as a celebration and I close it at the end of the year as a celebration, and I celebrate every single achievement, and I do it throughout the year. So when I launch it, I make a big thing of it. And it's this idea that you are encouraging your students to read as many books as they can so that you bring a sense of excitement to your reading program. But I also, when I launch the reading marathon, I think I have a presentation. I don't know if I will find it today, but I I I explain to my students why there is a reading marathon. I tell my students that it's important that when they read faster, that they can process speaking language, and they have more opportunities to read to their tastes, to their speed, is targeted to themselves, and they have more opportunities to get more vocabulary, to acquire more vocabulary. And I like the reading marathon to run alongside my teaching program. So it's like they are learning through the books and they are learning with me in the classroom.
Mhm.
And so I announce it to my students. I announce it to my students. And a marathon is normally 42 kilometers. But I break my marathon so that they can have all these milestones: 5, 10, 15, 21, 42K. And I allow different distances. So when I made my first reading marathon in 2016, um, I thought, okay, um, 1,000 words, 1 kilometer. But then not all the books had explained or said how many kilometers were per book. I mean, how many thousands of words, how many words were per book. So I was like, oh my goodness, how do I count the books? How do I count the books? How do I attribute a kilometer to a book? And so after a few weeks of trying to think how to make this happen, I abandoned the idea and now said 1 book, 1 kilometer. That's it. And so some students at the beginning complain. They said, "Oh, but this is a really big book. It should count like for 10 kilometers. Like this book should count for five 500 meters." But actually, students read to their ability. And that is a very important thing to do when you present the library. There is a tool, I may show you later, but there is a tool from the Extensive Reading Foundation where um, they show the students a hand and they say, pick up a book, pick up a book. If there are 5 words you don't understand in that page, that book is too difficult for you. If there is only 1 word or 0 words that you do not understand, so you understand everything, maybe that book is too easy for you. So 2, 3 words unknown per page is right for you for extensive reading. So if you're reading a book like that, it's because you can read a book like that big. Therefore, your marathon should be having books like that. And if you read a book like this, well, you read it. But I encourage my students to read easy, as because the easiest the book, the faster they read. The faster they read, the more they read. The more they read, the more times they meet the words. And they need 20 meetings with a word to be able to remember it 3 months later. And the Extensive Reading Foundation says it requires 20 meeting with words for incidental vocabulary acquisition, which is the vocabulary acquisition that happens normally as you are reading by meeting the word time and times and times. So many students come to a reading program thinking, oh, I have to perform, I have to read very difficult books. No, 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 no. You have to read very easy books so that you can read lots. And so I decided 1 kilometer per book. Then, of course, when you run a reading marathon, you have to have a tracker, a way to record it. And so Bamford and Day's book, they do a marathon course, a paper marathon course. So you see, there is a start, and you get all the kilometers with the milestones. And teachers usually would copy this, give it to each student, and a student will color in the segment. Oh, I read 1 book. And I started like this, and I thought, okay, well, this is a bit lackluster. It's a bit sad. And so I did. This is my library. Let me make it bigger. This is my library in 2018. Okay, and so I made my library on the walls of my classroom, and I put 1 or 2 exemplars of the books on the wall and the others on a table so they can pick them. And my students would put the name of who was reading the books. This was in 2018. I didn't have the same library. I had lots of books that I wouldn't have in my library today, like this one, for example. But I had books I love and still continue loving. Anyhow, they weren't at the time in 2018, they weren't that many independent authors, and they weren't only Craig here, I think, and Adriana Ramirez. But besides them, there were no Latin American authors. Now my library looks totally different from this, but this what it was in 2018. And so you see, I will put the kilometers on the wall, and my students, I will make runners. I will make runners, and the students will move the pin, will move the runner each time they finished the marathon. And so this was great, but it behaved a little bit like the course. I mean, I didn't know what book they have read. I didn't know what book they have read, and I didn't know what they were what were their impressions about the book. I couldn't celebrate it as a whole. There wasn't a sense of community. So this year, I started again teaching year seven and year eight Spanish. And so I thought, and also an ESL class. So I launched a digital reading marathon. And so I created a course. I created a course, you see, where 5, 10, 15, 21, 42 Ks. I gave a runner that my students can customize. This was already, I was super, super, because they could make their different runners. They could put accessories to their runners. They could do funny things, change the colors. I mean, it was lovely. They could put the covers of the book. They could make a summary of the book with images. They could put the stars. I didn't find something in Canva. I will explain you how to use it. And they could put meaningful reviews. I could give comments. I could make comments, and it's a kind of a soft interaction. I could make comments, give merit points. In my school, I can give merit points. My students can answer to me. Yeah, it was great. But this had a problem that I didn't know.
So
And the
could I
problem
ask you
was,
a question
yeah,
about
off you
that?
go.
I'm noticing those books are in English. Is that your ESL
This
class?
is my ESL class
Okay. So would you have your Spanish students write the summary in Spanish?
in Spanish. I'm going to show you for Spanish.
Okay. All right.
So
Thank you.
this had, when I came up with this idea, I said, oh, great. But then there is a couple of pitfalls here. First, a technical pitfall. Uh, I didn't know that the whiteboards in Canva have a limit of 300 images. I didn't know. These my students said, "Oh, Miss, we cannot add any more covers," and I was like, "What the heck? Why?" And so that is one. The other is that great? This student, she's reading a lot. But another student who is not at the same level and is really struggling is not reading that much. And I thought, this might create a little bit of pressure to having the marathon on the same page and seeing this student reading like a mad person and me not reading that much and not writing that much. And so I thought, maybe I don't want that for my students. Maybe I want their own space. Right? And so when I went to create for my year 7 and my year 8, I created a marathon course that you may have seen in a YouTube presentation that I did for Voces, Reading in Spring, but I can share this with you right now. And I will put the links in the video when I put it on YouTube, but I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to share it right now. Everyone with a link can access, I'm going to say can view so that you can make a copy, right? Public view link. And I'm going to put this in the chat for us, but I will put this in the chat for the recording. Okay. And so this is very simple. And so when I launch it, I show my students this. And I said, we are going to do a reading marathon. You have a runner. The runner is, and I like my runner to be a color that is like not a skin color, right? And I said, you have a runner, and we are trying to read as many books as we can. 42 books in a year. Now, the books for the Spanish library are really little. You can stop at 21, actually. We are going to run a half a marathon, right? 21 books. There are 21 books that your students can read in level 1. And the first thing you are going to do, so you tell them, there are a couple of things. You have a runner, and you are going to customize your runner. You are going to write your name, so they can put their name. You can do it on the screen with them. This will take you a period, but it's not a lost period. You want to launch a marathon. This is not going to do it without investing time in teaching them how to do it, and they will love doing it. Get your computers out. You are going to share the template of the marathon. If you have a Canva account, you share it as a class, and so you can do assignment. You can see assign. So you click on assign, and you can assign through Canva, through Google Classroom, through Microsoft Teams, and if it was integrated to your learning management system, you can do it too. But you can assign it through Canva. You can say that is a new design for each student, and then you look for your class. So you either create a class or have a class, but you have to create a class to assign it. Let's say that you don't have a class. Well, no problem. You share it to anyone with the link, and you send the link to your students by email. You send it as a view, so then they can go to File, make a copy, right? So they cannot work on your template. You send them an email and say, go there, make a copy. That's your first step. That's your first step. And so they make a copy. So step number 1, customize your runner. They will want to stay here like 1 hour. And you say, no, 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 no. You have a lot of things to do. So you explain what the reading marathon is. You customize your runner. You can customize a runner yourself, so you get used to, and you then show them. And of course, you put the name, that is easy text, and you put the elements. And so I said to them, you can put a wig, look for wigs. You can put, and then you throw things. You can put shoes. And they get, okay, you can put shoes, 1 shoe maybe. You can put a little dog that you like. And so they throw the elements there, and then they are going to play with them. They are going to play with these elements to just customize, to make their runner the runner they want. Okay, so I don't want these shoes. I don't want this thing. Oh, another downfall that I forgot to mention about having the reading marathon as a share, the courses shared, is that anyone can destroy anything for everyone else. So if I were by any chance a person with a malintent, I can say, boom, destroy. So you want those marathon courses to be own, self-own. And so, oh, I make my marathon. And so you wanted to have a name and you want to own for the fun. You want them to own for the fun. Then, of course, here they can just look for the book. I will show you that. They will look for the book. I'm going to show you right now. Let's say that this is not the way students are going to do it, but let's say I'm going to Amazon. They go to Amazon, Amazon.com, and I look for stay on Amazon.com, and I'm going to look for one book of mine, Arroz con Cosas book. Okay, dismiss. And I get to the book. This is one of my book. If you click right, you copy the image, you go back to your template, you paste the image. That's what, and look, I glide, I paste, and then up, you put the image there. And so they have every book cover is at their fingertips. And then there isn't a way in Canva to put the stars. So I put them all the stars here. And they just have to, oh, I thought that this book was absolutely amazing. Not 3 stars. No, 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 no. This is going to be 4 stars. So they have to do this manually, but it takes seconds. And here they do the review. I like them to write the reviews in English because that's the language and I don't want to know what happened in the book. That's no. I want to think what they thought, and what they learned, and what they learned. Yeah. And they can put a few words, and they can make a summary in pictures on top. So this book, Arroz con Cosas, is about a lady who wants to become an influencer to paella, this is a real paella, so I'm going to put that at the top. And so it's a visual summary of the book, and maybe with one image or 2 images, and that's it. When they get to number 5, they can send you an email and say, hey, maestra, come and look for this, right? Perfect. Now, this is very important. So they have finished this. But of course, they haven't done a review. You have given them and say, okay, guys, you have 10 minutes to start with your runner, right? You have 10 minutes to start with your runner. What is important is they know how to share it, because they have to share it with you. They have to share their marathon template with you, because otherwise you cannot access. So they have to put your name, maestra, blah, blah, blah. And they need to also to get this link. This is very important, because now that every student has their marathon course, you need those students, you need the students, you need to have a hub, right? You need to have a hub for to get to all the marathon courses, right? In one class I have 30 students, in another I have 30 students. So that's when I came with the idea of the house of reading. So what is a house of reading? The house of reading is just a hub. It's just a hub with doors. Every door takes me to the marathon course of one of my students. That's it. It's super simple. So every door is a link to the house, to their marathon course. So for example, if I click on mine, and I will show you how to do this. Well, we just go to the marathon course, right? So I explain this. So look, if I go to this student, Hansi made her door. I'm going to show you how to do that. If I click on Hansi, up, I go to her marathon. She's starting Spanish. So
Mm.
look, well, she has completed 7 books. She started reading some ultra beginners books. I'm going to show you that and look at the reviews. This is some Adams books. I like reading this book. It was very entertaining because. So I ask my students that to put in the review always the word because. So if they didn't like, because it was a good storyline. I learned the word chicle, generoso, estudiante, tenemos, estricto, nerviosa, castigo. She liked this book better. She gave it 4 stars. I love this book. It was very funny because Lucia and Andres kept wanting revenge. She read, I made an ultra beginner called Curiosa that is in free access on my website. And she said, this book was so funny and the best book I read so far because the ending was so unexpected. I learned blah, blah, blah. So I gave her a merit and I wrote her a comment, and she is reading away 10 minutes at the beginning of every class. So the second part of your lesson on that reading marathon lesson, so the first part of your lesson is what is a reading marathon? The second is this gave me an idea. I think next week I make a blog post with resources and images that you have a PowerPoint to show to your class. And you say, this is a reading marathon. These are examples. This is what you are going to do, right?
That would be
And
great.
so, yes.
Yes, that would be great.
And it's very simple because explaining what is a reading marathon will take you 5 minutes. Explain you why they want to read as many books, they will take you 5 minutes. And then it's the technical part, but they need to see an example, right? And
So
so,
if I could ask you a question,
yeah,
this house of reading, the hub, I'm the only person who can see this, correct?
no, everyone.
So can a student with bad intention, like you showed us with the
They
marathon, can
could.
they go in and make changes to other students?
They could make a change to the door.
Or just the door, but not what's inside?
No, not what's inside.
Okay, perfect.
But we create this as a community, as a class. So I create a hub as a class. Everyone knows each other. Um, I don't suspect that there would be vandalism, but it could be. And so I make this for you this morning. All right, let me see. I made this for you. Okay. So this is an empty house of reading, right? This is an empty house of reading. And I put the instructions for the students so you can copy this and give it to your student as it is. So let's walk through the students to see if my instructions, these are the instructions I gave to my students. So this is not invented for the purpose of something. So claim a gray door. Oh, the doors were gray. Let me change the color. Let me change the color because they were gray at a point. Well, claim a brown door or claim a door. Claim a door. So how do you claim a door? By putting your name onto the door. So add a heading, put the heading, claim a heading on your door. I don't know, Beth. Beth, I am going to reduce this. So they find their way, and I'm going to make it really big. And I ask my students to claim your door in a big way. They can go to effects and then put a background, for example. And that's it. Claim your door. You could say, You could already prepare this and say name, and you could very well, actually, this might work better. You could say all the doors have a name, and you can say claim your door by writing your name. And you take one technical step out of the thing. Claim your door, write your name on your door. Boom. Uh, Customize it. Change the color of the door. If I, oh, this door, oh, this is not the wrong door. Um, okay, wait a second, because I did that too fast for you. This one, let me see. No, you can change the colors of the doors. Okay, change the color of the doors. I promise I will get you a door. Okay. Okay. And you can do it with any door, actually. Look at this. How easy. I mean, I made a mistake when I created this too, because you want a door that can be customized, right? Up. And I'm going to put this on top, position. So, of course, you need to be a little bit familiar with Canva to know how to use it, but a lot of teachers are using Canva. So look, I'm going to put a first door. All my doors are going to be red. I'm just going to copy paste my door. I'm going to take the name to make it easy. And then I paste another door and another door and another door. I'm going to do this. Wait, I have 3 doors. I'm going to put 3 more doors. I take 6 doors, copy paste. I'm going to put them here. So the process is rather simple. You put it here. And don't worry too much about the alignment because Canva has a feature. So Canva has a feature. You can select everything. You go to position and you say, oh, tidy up. Ah, I didn't tidy up proper here. Why? Why didn't tidy up here? Oh, because there was something there. Okay, let me do this again. Tidy up. Come on. Yeah, so you have a door. Okay, let's go again. Let's do this again. So you have a house of reading, you make a copy of the template, claim a door, and you can change the color of the door. They can decide that the door is yellow or blue, that the handle is another color. And of course, they can throw accessories. So I say max 3. Why? This has a this has a simple reason. This is because in Canva, you need to make the object clickable. This object, edit link, let me destroy this link. Okay. In Canva, you need to be able to click on the object. And that object is going to get you to the reading marathon. And so if I put lots of accessories on top, like, let me see, flowers. Oh, okay. Flowers. This is a photo. And I put it on top of the door and another thing on top of the door. Then I won't see the door. It's like, hello, people. I need the thing to be clickable. I need a name and a little accessory at the top, at the bottom. So uh, some students really want to, I had to say, hey, stop it. So when you see my year 8 doors, they have an accessory at the bottom and their name decorated at the top, but I can touch the middle. I can touch my things. That is really important. Some put animated stuff, but I can still access the door. Some decorated their names. This was so popular, the little dog, and they take the doors near to their friends, and it's really cute. So once Okay. Once they decorate the door in a very, they decorate and name their door, add a name, and I'm going to put my door. So it's a bit, I mean, you need to be used to Canva. Okay. And then the students, where was our Spanish? You remember? This was their marathon. You ask them, okay, now you have your marathon course and you have your house of reading. You have your door. You have your marathon and your door. And now we are going to link both. We are going to link both. We are going to link both. And then that's what you do. You take the link from your Spanish reading marathon template, right? Copy link. And so this is really interesting. Look at this, because you can say to students, oh, you can share it with anyone. You can share it just with me. You can share it only with the people in the class. I mean, they decide with whom they share it, provided that is shared provided that is shared with provided that is shared with you, the teacher. And so you copy the link up, and then you go to the house of reading. They do this, you don't do that. They go to their door, they go to their door, they click on these three little dots up, and they create a link, and they copy paste the link, and they click on done. And so now when you click on the doors, you just ding, get to the marathon, right? So it's very simple. The last piece of this is the bottom of the house of reading. And so at the bottom of my house of reading, I put a link to my library. Why? Because I don't want them to go to Amazon all the time to start with. I want a place where they can find all the books by level instead of roaming around. I mean, they will roam around the room to go and pick their things, to go and pick their books and read. But when they do the review, I don't want them suffering. Oh, I cannot find the book. Where is the author? I'm going to go to Amazon or another website. That website is blocked. So I created a website on Canva, and created a website on Canva is the easiest thing ever, because you just go to your Canva, say create website, and it's like a page, and you put publish and it's published there. So I'm going to show you my, where is it? Okay, so here. So this is a Canva page. This is a Canva page. It's called, well, this is the name of my school, PLC Armidale Spanish Reading Library. I put Spanish Reading Library. Read as much as you can. Read for meaning, for pleasure, for the joy of understanding a new world. And I may share this. We'll finish shortly. Don't worry. I'm share this with you, so you can also make a copy if you like. But I need to take the links out though. And so I divided my library in ultra beginners, beginners, and beginners plus. Now, the beautiful thing of the ultra beginners books is that they are very easy to read. So you can go and get a subscription from Adam Books. He has published 2, 3, 4, 5 and counting. I think he will get to 8 this year.
Could you repeat that? Is that Adam, Adam?
Yeah, look,
Okay.
Adam, Geet, and Adam,
Oh, there he is. Okay. All right.
Adam, and he has his confidence readers. If you Google confidence readers, let me send him a message. We are talking about you. We are talking about your books. Do you want to come in? Um, Myra Canyon has
Yeah.
two very easy readers. There is, I couldn't get it online, so I have copies on my library. I made one that you can get from my website. I just need to update the video.
Yeah, I
Uh,
already have it actually. I went on
okay.
your website. I played around and I got Curiosa.
Um, and so the students, they just click. When you get a subscription to Adam's book, look, I just made the thing clickable so my students can read. They they go and just read his book, or they go and read mine. And I have the text illustrated for them to read, and they can read on the screen these easy books, right? 15 unique words, 16 cognate, 258 books they can read in 10 minutes. They have the video. They have gym kits to play to. You can make your things, or I mean, there are a lot of stuff there. And then there are books to read in school. So once they finish the ultra elementary or beginning reading, they can read books in school. And that's it. And then they read, they make their reviews, you log into the house of reading, you visit their marathons, and you celebrate that.
Does it
Any
take you a
questions?
long time to go in and read all of the reviews for all of
Oh,
your classes?
I only do this when the students tell me to go. When
Oh,
students
okay.
reach a milestone. For example, if I go to my year 7, I have a student who wrote a message yesterday, and year 7 house of reading. And I have a student, yeah, so where are you? She said, "Hey, maestra, veja." Mhm. She put a photo. Oh, my cutie.
Hmm.
She said, "Hey, maestra, go to my marathon. Where is her link? Okay, her link is gone. I know it's here. Okay. Go to my marathon. I read 5 books."
Okay.
And I said, "Oh, okay." And I just go, I scan that the reviews are thoughtful. I scan that the review is thoughtful, and I say, "I like this." Okay. I just go very quickly. Overall, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. And she did a really good job. So now I'm going to put a little point here. She didn't like this too much, but I'm going to
Hmm.
put a little comment there to celebrate her achievement and give her a merit point. But if your school doesn't have uh, merit points, um, I don't know. I will put a chocolate or a star or something to celebrate the achievement. But it is their responsibility to let me know, because I cannot check the 30 marathon courses
Right.
every time to see that, oh, you only have read 2 books.
Yeah.
But if I am asked to do reports, I may very well go to my house of reading and check, click on all of my students, and make a comment. Didn't engage. I said to them, "You are assessed on this. It is your job to read. It
Hmm.
is assessed. It's your participation." And so I can use the marathon as proof of their engagement and their commitment to the learning of Spanish too.
And do you also allow them to read outside of the classroom for their marathon, or is this strictly books that you read in
Well,
class?
For the, you see, oops, um, the ultra beginner level, they read outside the classroom too, because I want them to read these books, these little books, several times.
Oh, okay.
I want and Adam has made a book bingo that is so lovely because you will you will find it on his website, and so the students can read under the tree, read to a dog, read to, and so they cross in all the times
Yeah,
they
yeah.
read. But I want them to get really confident with reading these books. So they will read them two, three, or four, or five times. It doesn't matter how many times they read it. But however, these books are in school. And so these books, they
Oh, yeah, read them
read,
in school. Okay.
these books they read with me.
And how long are your classes? Because 10 minutes can be very,
I know.
you know.
But 10 minutes, I mean, if you are committed to reading and if you accept that through reading they are going to acquire vocabulary and become better readers, then you should be allowing 10 minutes of reading every class. And my classes are 50 minutes, so I reduce my class 10 minutes. So they do 40
Oh,
minute, I do 40-minute class, 10-minute reading. But you can put the reading at the end of the period. I like to have the reading at the beginning because it's a settling activity. So they
yeah,
come, they grab a book, they sit, they read. But as I explained in both my presentation for the CI reboot and conference in the cloud, they have been reading already. I mean, we read class stories, we read all the things at the beginning of the class. So this is a transition from reading a common text that we are studying together to read. Now, it will happen to me today that I have a really long text that I want to read in the class. So I'm going to say, well, today the 10 minutes reading at the beginning of the class is of my text.
oh, okay.
Because if I gave them 10 minutes to read on their own, but then I need 10 minutes to read my book,
Yeah.
it's not that there is a lot of reading. I don't mind doing drop everything, sit and read, but it's just I will have middle schoolers reading for 30 minutes, doing nothing much. So I just like to have this solid 10-minute reading. Most of the time, it will be reading on their own. Some of the time will be reading on their own a common text. A common text. And that's it.
Okay.
I'm going to stop this. Um, Thank you. Thank you for contacting me and
Yes.
asking me about this beautiful thing that is the House of Reading and the reading marathon. I think it's great. I think it's a
Yeah.
great thing to um, encourage the students to read more. And I hope you do
Yeah.
it in your classroom.
I do want to. One of my goals is to get them to read more. But like you said in conference in the cloud, I have a lot of books that's above their level. So I need to start
You
reading
need to start.
down.
I am going to publish this next week because I teach 1 week every single period and the other week is calmer. I'm going to publish a selection of books, a poster, a recommendation for teachers for level one books
Oh,
that
wonderful.
that the
Yeah.
students can, because it's great to have a reading marathon, but the students need to be able to read the thing.
Yeah, and what I was finding is when we had longer periods when I was at the high school, I had an hour and a half with each
Yeah,
student. So they would get a book, and then if they got one that was too difficult, they would just get discouraged, and then
yeah.
they wouldn't want to read. And I don't want to do that for the little ones that are just beginning. It's their
No,
first
that's why
experience.
starting with the ultra beginners is a
Yeah,
really confidence booster.
yeah,
I start with this And then I'll put the lesson to teach this. I am teaching this book, El Último Árbol, as a class book because it's a book that cannot be finished in one sitting.
Yeah, you
Uh,
mentioned that in one of your, I watched one of your YouTube videos and you talked about that book. There's no chapters in that book, right?
no chapters. There's no
Yeah,
chapters in this book. So they will have to use a bookmark for the first time and they will have to say, okay.
yeah,
And the book is really meaningful. It's not just a silly story. Um,
right, right.
and yeah, and I teach with some this year I'm teaching the students. I wrote this book as a curriculum for middle schoolers. So I'm
Nice.
teaching with this book. So I mean, teaching is a great adventure. And that's
Oh,
it.
yes.
I'm going to stop the recording and say
Okay.
goodbye. Wait a
Yes, I know you
second.
have to get to work. I'm sorry.
I,
I'm
I,
on summer